Any of the views expressed in this show do not represent the views or opinions of those participating. We are merely observers.
Please do not reenact any of the stories you hear on our show.
Being featured on our show is not something to be proud of.
And as always, please drink responsibly.
It's like, yes. This is good. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Laughs and Drafts. My name is Jason Thomas, your resident fancy boy.
I'm Jared, your learning man.
This is Tim, the old man.
Ethan, the guy with the glasses.
The guy with the glasses, my sweet
He's
boy.
back.
And what is going on today, guys? What is the magical day? It is the beloved Ultra
Mega
Sports
Cauldron.
Our two favorite teams, the Philadelphia Seahawks and the New England Mennonites, gather together on the field to dribble their baseballs to each other's sides to see who can score the most points. And at the end of the day, whoever collects the most magical bones is gifted with seeing the other team beheaded. So it's going to be a real good night for all of us, all those sports fans out there.
I just like this day for commercials, though, honestly.
I'm not a sports guy at all.
Nope.
I mean, I can Google stuff much easier any time of the year if I want to see big sweaty dudes wrestling each other. So, there's no points involved.
There's a website for that at night.
I keep my own score.
Yeah, I keep my own score. 15-0. I lose every time. For those of you who have never listened to our show before, we are a podcast that goes over strange and interesting news stories, and we also cover beers that we enjoy and talk about a little bit of history behind each beer that we try. So we're going to go ahead and get into our first news story here. This one is from metro.co.uk, and the headline reads, "Pensioner has been banned from every farm in Britain after he allegedly pushed his fist into a cow's rectum and performed a sex act." John Curnow, 80, was found guilty on 2 counts of outraging public decency. I like how that's the counts. Nothing on the cows. It was like, that was just wasn't fun to see. Counts of outraging public decency after he molested several cows on at least 2 occasions. The court heard that last summer he was spotted talking to a herd of 150 cows and masturbating in fields belonging to Park Lodge Farm in Uxbridge, West London, several times. Farmer's wife, Susan Howie.
Beef jerky.
Yeah. No. You see this? You're going to help me out or I'm going to turn you into a hamburger.
Oh, my God.
Farmer's wife, Susan Howie, said in Uxbridge Magistrates Court that she caught Curnow twice with his pants and trousers around his ankles and courting her cattle, which she describes as part of her family. Curnow, who uses a walking stick, I don't know why that's important, was also spotted by 2 sisters from their home nearby who reported seeing him insert his left arm up to his shoulder into a back end of a cow. Then he allegedly performed a solo sex act. So allegedly there.
This is what it feel like if you went to a prison cow.
Oh, my God.
After his 3rd alleged visit to the cows, the sisters called the police, who discovered him on a nearby public footpath.
Say his 3rd visit?
His 3rd visit. I don't know how he got away. If he had his shoulders up to his shoulder inside of a cow, he'd be pretty easy to spot in town.
Sound.
Yeah.
Like they walk out the first time. They're like, you know what? Everybody does it once. So, you know what? We'll let him go
We'll let
on
it
this
slide.
time.
Old. Miss Howie said, "The cows are left unattended to in a field, especially in the summer. We leave them there day and night. I went out in my white... Oh, okay, hold on. I went out in my white pickup truck, and the gentleman was with a cow. He had his left hand interfering with the cow and his right hand on part of his lower body. His shirt was covering it."
What part of the lower body?
Probably his
What do
thigh.
you mean?
He was masturbating. You could see it moving up and down in his trousers, and his boxer shorts were at his ankles. He stopped, looked up, he grabbed his boxers and his trousers, and ran to the stile.
Did you say he had a cane or something, or a walking stick? Or...
Yeah, Buddy also ran. Referring to the occasion, Miss Howie said it was 8:30 p.m. and we were running a bit late with the milking.
Chunk, chunk.
Don't worry, he was already on board with the milking.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I know.
So he had his hand on his genitals, and the other one
And
in
the
a
other one
cow.
was in
This
cow.
is the special department.
And wait a minute, they had a walking
The
cane
heinous
as well?
crimes of the SVU.
Where'd the walking cane come in?
I don't know. I think
You
it
got
was
3 hands?
It just seemed like it was a random fact that they just needed to throw in there. It's like he was molesting cows. Yeah, we caught him out here. Had his left shoulder up inside of a cow's butt. He had a walking stick as well, and we saw him masturbating out in the field.
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, just one of these things wasn't necessary, more or less than what's like the other.
Oh my goodness. Raccoon rescued from Michigan office building window. On February 1st, a pest control company in Michigan helped bring a raccoon stranded outside the window of an office building for several days back to safety Wednesday. Employees at Crown Point Plaza in Oak Park spotted a raccoon on a ledge outside a 6th-floor window where it remained stranded since as early as Monday. The animal went from the 6th floor to the 5th floor yesterday and is back up on the 6th floor today, one employee said. Office workers were concerned for the animal's safety, but were unable to find anyone willing to scale the building to rescue it.
Yes, because it's a freaking raccoon, and those things are rabid beasts.
Rabies! Crews from S.W.A.T. Critter Solutions arrived
It was just crews from the local SWAT team came in.
immediately filled it with holes. Arrived at the office park Wednesday and used a lift bucket to get near the stranded raccoon and trapped it in a net. Once on the ground, the raccoon scurried away from rescuers and made its way underneath the hood of a car in the office building's parking lot.
I was going to
It
say,
goes from the building to the cars.
the only way it was going to be any better was like ran immediately into traffic and was killed.
After finally managing to track down the mischievous raccoon, rescuers took it to a wildlife resource center to be given food, water, and a medical exam before being released back into the wild. Every rescue is unique, said Lori Briggs of the rescue crew. Every single one.
Yeah, someone who was really excited for
Okay.
a camera and a reporter to be talking to them.
Yeah.
I am important now. Everything we do is in life and death in the balance.
Oh, little scamp, little bandit, you.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could save your life.
I can tell you this much, though. If you were on the 5th or 6th floor ledge of a building full of raccoons, they would have just shoved you off the edge.
Yes.
Like, they ain't going to
No
call
mercy.
no rescue team for you. They're just going to shove you off the ledge, or they're going to get their cold, human, feely hands all up on you, and they're going to...
Jazz paws.
Yeah, jazz paws, and they're going to kill you.
All over you.
We'll have to cut that one out.
Love it, but can't use it.
Just want to get this straight. All right, we'll cut it right here.
All right, Dad. Well, hold on. Give us a couple seconds of silence. All right, what do you got to say?
What do you got to say? All right. So actually, instead of getting into our first beer today, we actually have something special. We actually got an opportunity to speak with Nathaniel Gravely from Gravely Brewing here in Louisville, Kentucky. We did a interview with him talking about his business, how it started, and what gave him the ideas to follow his love of beer. And it was a real blast. We can't thank Gravely Brewing and Nathaniel enough for allowing us to come out and try some of his incredible beers. So we're going to go ahead and just cut to that right now. All right, we are here today with Nathaniel Gravely, the owner of the Gravely Brewery down here off Baxter Avenue here in Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you so much for having us here today. This is really cool. You're kind of the first place, actually, not the first place to agree, but the first place to actually schedule something quick.
Respond very quickly and be considerate.
Efficient. We're efficient here.
Well, yeah, he had mentioned it to me, and I reached out to you in an email, and of course, I don't have the email linked to me. He was like, yep, he's already responded. He's wanting to do it next week. And I'm like, oh, crap. We're all trying to scramble to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, you're walking into this place, it is definitely incredible. It is definitely
Thank you.
an amazing location. We spent a good couple minutes walking around when we first got here. Of course, the great venue, the caverns.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What's that about? What are those?
So this site used to sit on a larger property back in the late 1800s. It was called the Phoenix Brewing Company.
Okay.
So there was a brewery here eons ago, the first like German brewery I think in the state of Kentucky. And it was a huge, just like 3, 4, or 5 block size compound with multiple buildings. The building next door actually is the last freestanding structure from that compound. They were the stables that were used, and we originally started looking at that building before we ended up here. And we went outside here and kind of looked in the yard they had, and these caverns were actually used to lager German beers in. They didn't have refrigerators back then, so they stuck all the stuff underground and ran water down through the troughs to keep it cool. So we're
That
on
is
That's amazing.
kind of a historic renovation to some degree.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely. I was kind of bummed out because, like I said, I used to live right down the street. Now I live all the way out in Shelbyville, the middle of nowhere. So, really bummed me out. I came in and I was like, "This place has been here the whole time."
Yeah. Uber's
I
your
had
friend. You can
no
still
clue.
enjoy and get back to Shelbyville.
Hey, yeah, no, it's not that. It's really not that bad of a drive. I'm so used. I've been spoiled now because I live so close.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
It burns inside my soul. So, anyways, I guess getting into the beer aspect of it. I mean, what got you into, wanting to do your own brewery and
Well, for me personally, it started a long time ago. As my background traditionally and from a professional and passion standpoint is more in music and marketing. Is what I've kind of crafted my career on, and this concept originally started as just a music venue idea. With a friend of mine in the Northeast, we kind of looked at a few buildings in different cities. We were kind of high on cities like Austin and Asheville, Savannah, Chattanooga. And then I was in school actually in Lexington at the time, and I'd been here a few times to Louisville, but not spent any kind of crazy amount of living time. And I kept saying we should look at Louisville. We should look at Louisville. It's got a very awesome eccentric scene. Like, it's a strong music situation. People love local businesses. It's cheap.
Yeah.
And we actually came really close to almost buying the building up the street where Diorio's Pizza is now.
Okay.
That used to be an old 1920s like band shell way back in the day. And one thing kind of led to another, and she got a job at a record label in New York. I got a job at MTV in New York, and I left and moved and lived there for 3.5 years, and all while I'm there, I'm just kind of have that idea in the back of my head, wanting to do this music venue, and I started doing a bunch of shows with Flying Dog Brewery,
Okay.
which is based out of Maryland.
Yeah,
They're-
we've covered a
Had a
couple of their
few of their
beers.
beers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
familiar
got
with
in
that.
close to those guys, and the founder of that company was like best friends with Hunter S. Thompson. That's
Holy cow.
Hunter S. Thompson is
Stuff's just escalating really quickly right now.
Hunter S. Thompson obviously is from Louisville, so I'm like, oh, it's destiny. I'm gonna go open this like small place called Gonzo's. I'm gonna put Flying Dog pilot system beer in there. They're gonna make the beer. I'm gonna do the music. So we kind of start talking about this concept, and it dawns on me, especially at the time. This is probably like 2012ish or so, when craft beer is just on that upward trend of starting to explode on a regional level. That I should just cut them out and brew the beer myself. I homebrew, but not to any degree where I trust myself on any kind of system. So I started looking for a brewer to kind of make this dream come true. And it just so happens that the girl that I started dating at the time, her sister was seriously dating Corey, who is the head brewer at Snake River Brewing Company at that time. So
Everything's got to fall.
sort of, yeah. Anyway, I still was in New York at this time, and then I transferred my job down to CMT in Nashville, and worked there for a couple of years. And part of that ulterior motive base was to get closer to Louisville, because I'd pretty much earmarked it as this is where it was going to be.
Yeah.
And would go up like once every month or two, kind of checking out properties, getting a feel for the city without living here, all while working on Corey to like leave Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and come over to Kentucky, which was not an easy sell to start with.
Oh, no,
when you live out there, and then that's how it kind of became what it is now. So the music part of this is obviously, you can look around, it's very thematic to our brand and the atmosphere and like the DNA. And then Corey on the beer side, I mean, I've loved beer since college when I first had my Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and that kind of started the downward spiral or the upward slope, however you want to call it. And then, I mean, Corey's been brewing beer for 25 years.
Wow.
And has won so many awards. So it was just a nice combination of like his pedigree and training and really nice beers, plus my background and the branding, music kind of side of stuff. That's the long short story there.
Yeah,
for you.
I mean, that's
awesome.
Yeah, that is incredible, especially the fact you pulled someone from Flying Dog. Like, that's insane. Like,
Oh yeah, no, he wasn't a Flying Dog. He was at Snake River.
Snake River,
Snake
yeah.
River.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. Oh,
Jackson
sorry.
Hole.
I heard
But
Flying
he
Dog so
still
many
knew
times.
the people at Flying Dog, though.
Yeah, I mean, this whole
No, there
story
It was
is-
everybody.
I mean, for us, essentially this whole podcast was just an attempt for. Initially, it was an attempt for them to like hurt me because I don't like beer, and
We succeeded for part of the way,
well, they just
Sometimes
kept,
we do.
they would go and they'd be like, "What's the most disgusting thing?" And let's get that. Let's make Jason drink
What does
it.
Jason hate?
Every single time it was killing me. But like as this has gone on, like my palate's kind of changed quite a bit to where I do enjoy beer quite a bit. I still know nothing.
Yeah.
And I guess in the grand scheme of things, like we all still kind of know nothing when
Yeah.
it comes,
Yeah, we're
especially when
not-
it comes to the process of how this is all,
We're
how
all
this all
learning.
goes down.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
we're turning him slowly. We're
Yeah.
Being,
his taste buds.
in fact, I came last weekend and I had your Hefeweizen that make the is it the
Doc's
Doc's
Hefe.
Hefe?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And I was like, this is amazing. And I put it on our Twitter, and then I told Jason, I think I just told about everybody here, I was like, we have to go. I don't care if we are able to get an interview or whatever, let's just go drink beer there because it is fantastic.
It's probably
and
one I'm
that's
gonna
our
have to
favorite.
get before I leave because
Yeah.
that's like my favorite.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think that's on anymore.
Oh, dang!
No.
It's okay. It's okay.
There is a fresh batch of it fermenting in the brewery right now, but it went off this week. We had a pretty nuts weekend, and we're down a few soldiers right now.
Is that
on
a
the board,
seasonal
but-
or is that just you just ran out?
No. It's on pretty frequently. We kind of get particular about like claiming something as a flagship, but that is definitely one that would be in that consistent realm of flagship territory. That and a few others, but the Hefeweizen, again, Corey is like really, he's a third generation German, so any of those technical German style beers, like he loves and obsesses over. And you know, I always like to think that German beers are more technical to make, so you can hide your flaws in like an IPA pretty easily by just making it really bitter and saying like, oh yeah, it's hopped, like that's delicious.
That's what we've
But
been talking
technically maybe it's not as good. But a
Yeah.
German beer, it's either you hit it and you're right, or it's just like mediocre and bad, and he hits it right every
That's
time.
something that we talk about quite a bit because one of the things they love to torture me with is IPAs, specifically because a lot of IPAs they do have just not the best quality ingredients in it, and they just try to mask the flavor with just insanity of flavor.
Yeah.
And it is just I can't swing that. I do prefer German style beer. So far, everything that we've covered, German style beer. Of course, I lived in Germany for 2 or so years, and of course I was over there and I was old enough to drink, and that was my first
Yeah.
place I was drinking at was over there.
Not a bad place to start.
Yeah, definitely not. We'll go ahead and is there? I guess we'll get a flight,
Yeah.
and
We don't have flights here,
Well-
but we can give you tasters of whatever
yeah,
you want.
yeah.
Or half pints.
And just something that so we can. I mean, if they're like 4 or 5 of your favorite,
Sure.
and then it doesn't have to be like a ton, just enough for us to get a taste.
I mean, we have like taster glasses that
Oh,
are
okay, yeah.
similar to
Okay.
flights. We just don't pour like 6 of them at a time and like
Yeah.
give them to you on like a
Right.
wooden blank.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I guess we'll go ahead and get into that, and then we'll talk about each individual beer.
First up is a light-bodied Czech Pilsner, a Bohemian Pilsner.
Oh, okay.
They're both known by both styles. It's definitely light, has a medium body, a little bit of bittering hops in there to give it a nice, like, it's not going to be like as crisp as our German Pilsner would be. It's some softer. You
Right.
can drink a lot of them pretty easily.
Yeah.
I was about to say this is something that I could probably say.
Yeah. Yep. And of course, historically, Pilsner itself came from the Czech Republic in the city of Pilsen. So this is where Pilsner like first started, and then when it made its way to Germany and kind of creeped westward, it became, every region kind of put their own twist on it, and the German Pilsner definitely gets more dry and a little more bitter, so this is a little more softer and a little more
Yeah.
aromatic too in the nose.
I was about to say that it ends.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
get that aroma like crazy. It's
So I
definitely-
think it ends softly
Yeah,
like when I
that's-
swallow it, so that velvety kind of
Yep.
feel to it. And this is cold fermented, of course. So the Czech Pilsner takes about as long as a German Pilsner, sometimes a little shorter. But it's cold fermented in our fermentation tanks, and they last in there for about, after they are brewed, 20 plus days, like somewhere up to a month sometimes. They take a while. So lagers, that's why they're lagers.
Would I be correct in saying it? To me, it'd be if it was a hot summer day, this would be nice to cool drink like this.
Yeah, so that, the Hefeweizen that you had last week is definitely one of those. And it comes in the lovely Hefeweizen Weizen glass, traditional half liter. And then La Bamba, or Mexican lager, is another one of those that you could just crush the crap out of on a hot summer day. Very, very light. Probably the lightest beer we offer, actually.
That's like my tagline: "Crush the crap out of it."
Yeah, there you go. So next to that, still staying in Europe, but going to England, this is the first English pale ale that we've made called Love Cats. And the Czech Pilsner was called Czech 1, which is named after a King Cruel song. Love Cats is named after a Cure song because not only are they English, but they're also very pale. So we thought it was fitting to name it after the Cure.
Oh yeah, I remember when I looked at the menu that everything was music
Yeah.
based with every name,
Definitely.
and it told you the origin behind it. It was really cool.
Where did you move to New York from? Like, where did you leave from?
Lexington. I lived in Lexington at the time. That's right. Kentucky.
What do you play?
I don't play anything.
You don't play anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am in a very musical family that plays stuff and sings things all by ear, and then I'm the only one that does not do that.
Hey, you've
I
got
hear it very well, and I would get to work in it, but
You got the important part though. You got marketing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's-
sure.
That is the part that
Yeah.
every musician fails at.
so
I was
yeah,
just saying that because I knew I bought my drums from a guy who moved to New York to work at MTV, and I was like, God,
no.
what are the freaking chances?
Though I would
that's
have
gonna be?
probably tried to have been a drummer if I was drummer or bassist. I like those kind of
Oh, yeah,
those things.
definitely.
Yeah, so Love Cats is English Pale. It's gonna be dry. It's gonna be very floral in the nose. It's gonna have. I think it has kind of a tea characteristic to it almost.
I was
I
about
was
to, yeah.
thinking like almost ginger.
Yeah,
in a way,
yeah, kind of
like
like the
a
same kind of just
herbally-
like it's like a spicy note a little bit, but that's just you get that specifically from that English malt that they use. That's why it's like so different than like an IPA would be or a regular pale for that matter. It's still got hops in it, but just not. It's not gonna be the same overpowering hop profile that you would find in a really like West Coast IPA or anything like that.
So you said like English malts,
Yeah,
and so
and hops too. There'll be
and-
English
and
hops, in there
as well.
Yeah.
And this one is specifically.
Yeah, that will use like a Pilsner malt.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so-
what's the difference? Like, what's the difference between like English malt and a?
I mean, from a grain standpoint, color is one thing,
Okay.
definitely, and the body of the beer itself. Like that's
Okay.
it's kind of like the foundation of the beer in
Okay.
a lot of ways.
okay.
Is the malt. That's why if you get a stout, it'll come from a really dark malt. So that's why stouts will be just really dark
Yeah.
as a result. Or
Makes
you get
sense.
like a roasted. Like we have a stout right now. You can probably try a little bit later. That is an export stout, but it's got a very roasted characteristic to it because the malt's been roasted, and that flavor comes through in the beer specifically.
Yeah, I mean this is definitely a lot more hard hitting than this one, but everything is like it's not overpowering. Usually something like this would.
It's different.
If they brought it to me, it would probably kill me.
Yeah. Well, I put these in the same flight because it'll take your palate on a little journey here.
Yeah.
It'll start pretty soft, get a little floral, and then go to something completely different.
Yeah, I mean,
to
it's-
end it with on the
Both
next
have a
one.
good taste. And
Yeah,
this
they
has a
both
nice
have, they're
aroma.
both fantastic.
Good. Glad you like it. Yeah. So that actually uses a very similar, if not the same, yeast strain that Three Floyds brewery uses in a lot of their beers, specifically like Zombie Dust and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't like to think I could taste yeast in beers because you're not supposed to, but I can definitely. There's a gumminess to that beer.
Yeah.
To me, that when I have a Zombie Dust or I have a Gumball Head, it's that same. There's a little bit to it, like it's still
Yeah.
got a little gumminess to it. Could just be me knowing that it's that yeast and just like totally placebo affecting it, but
Yeah.
I think it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I've had Gumball before,
Yeah.
so I can kind of see that that feeling
Yeah.
that it leaves. That's definitely interesting.
So this last one in this flight of three is India malt liquor.
That's the one I
So
wanted to try.
this is we didn't.
You got the smile on your face.
That's Jason's favorite,
Well,
I think.
as a marketing person, I love this. Like this is totally nuts.
I thought this was like he's
Left-
gonna like this.
Well, I'd be interested to see what you said because
It smells fruity. Is that
this is like
correct,
so this
or-
is super hops. Like this is a hop like it's an IPA. It's gonna have I actually forget the hop profile that's in it. But they do have. I want to say it's a Zaka because I think we're saving that for another batch. But it might be Centennial and Simcoe that are in there, and that'll give you like a piney kind of nose in one of them. I think Simcoe will give you that.
Oh, there it is. Like
But-
a
A little
couple
bit, yeah.
seconds after I tasted it, I was like, "Oh, there's pine."
Yeah, what's
There it is.
nuts about this is
That's
that
really good.
it finishes
Yeah.
dry, but it's actually been lagered. So one thing you have to do about a malt liquor is like they call it an adjunct lagering basically, where you kind of add like a flaked rice to it, which gives malt liquor its like heavy booziness but really light crushable taste, or I guess like swallow necessarily.
Yeah.
So this actually has been cold fermented like it was a Czech Pilsner or a German Pilsner. It's sat in the tanks for 20 plus days and lagered and fermented very slowly.
Wow.
So it's got the same hop profile that an IPA would, but it's got that same crushability and smoothness that a lager does. So it's
true,
like
yeah.
it's a blended of it's dangerous. It's super dangerous. I mean, it comes in at like 7%.
Wow.
I was
And
wondering what
you never
You
guess
drink
that.
it and you're like, oh, this is like 5.5 or like 5, something like that.
I mean, this is very like. I'd probably say it's probably my favorite IPA that I've had, and I think you guys have brought in a. I don't remember.
Oh,
I erased them
ton.
from my memory as soon as I
Yeah.
am done having. But this is very good. Everything mixed is very well balanced. So I do taste the pine. I get the citrus, and once again, like most IPAs, it's
The
like
finish.
it's okay when it hits you. It's the finish that's just like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
horrible. And this is just got a
one thing Corey
fantastic
does
finish.
with most of his beers, or tries to, is they all finish really dry and refreshing. That's like his 2 favorite words to say when describing his beer. Because you want to drink it and not feel heavy. You want to drink it and be able to keep drinking more.
Yeah.
And beer is supposed to be thirst quenching and not something that you're just drinking and being like, oh yeah, that was fine. Man. It's kind of sitting on the back of my throat now. Like,
Yeah.
no, you
Yeah.
want to swallow it and it's gone, and it's like, oh, I want more, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Right.
because we want you to drink more. That's obviously a nice byproduct for our business, but
Well, I mean,
it's a good feeling.
You don't want to feel uncomfortable when you're drinking so many beers. And I've had
Yeah.
a drink beer like
Yeah.
that where you feel like you're going to just explode.
Totally, yeah.
the ghost pepper, chocolate ghost
Oh,
pepper.
that's one of those.
Yeah,
Man, that was a lot of heat on
man.
that.
We were at a brewery up in, it's where my wife's from, and it's called Zwanzig's in Columbus, Indiana, and they had a ghost pepper stout.
yeah.
And it was like, it just, I've never drank something that burned like as if you had something spicy all
I bet.
the way down.
I've had a Serrano pepper stout, or
Like,
it was a stout.
Yeah,
in
like
Michigan,
as far as
but-
like the taste wasn't bad, but it was that after effect of like
Well,
this
that
tingling.
it was
so
the kind of
weird.
the feeling like, and we drank maybe about this much, and it's enough to be like,
Yeah, we're done for the night.
like either it's gonna be blasting out one end, and I don't know which one, but I'm gonna stop now because like you drank a full. Oh my god, it would
Yeah.
kill you.
I have to admit, it was a moving experience for me.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like drinking that. And that's exactly what I think is like. Yeah, this is kind of a cool thing to drink and be like, hey, get your friends to try it and be like, what's wrong with you? But having something like this is something that if I'm going to drink something, and especially if I'm going to pay money, because beer is never like a cheap hobby. If you especially want to go out and have like 6 or 7 drinks, you and your wife or something. So if I'm going to drink it, it's going to be good and it's going to be refreshing, and I want it to be like feel good as I'm drinking it, not
Sure.
something that feels like a brick in my stomach
Yeah.
made of peppers.
No, I get it. I agree. Totally.
One of the few places I've been to that I can taste all the flavors. Everything that you've let us try is well balanced, and the Hefeweizen that I had was delicious. I did have your brown ale as well.
Oh, cool.
That was really good. And just you're not outrageously priced either. What I
No.
do appreciate as well.
Yeah, I think we're priced really fairly, if not
Yeah.
on the lower side of stuff
Yeah.
in the craft beer spectrum, which is good. I mean, we don't want to make beer unaffordable for people.
Well, I mean, you guys are in, like we were saying when you guys left, you're in probably the best area in Louisville. Like you're right in between where it's been crazy popular ever since I've been here.
Yeah.
And all the place that's new and like being built up new Louis area
Totally.
right
Yep.
there. You guys are, I mean, I couldn't imagine this place on a weekend. I'm sure me and my wife are going to come down here for sure to check it out. She would think this place is awesome. But you guys got to be slammed.
Yeah, the weekends have been great, and they've gone up a notch too. They seem to kind of gone an upward slope right now, which is good. Yeah, I can't really have any complaints about the weekends. It's the weekdays you gotta try,
Yeah,
gotta get
yeah.
through.
And you haven't started the
He's done a few.
We
The
we
band,
we
you've
did a
done
New
a
Year's
few.
show. We're gonna have a show in early February. We're gonna use. I've always been high on this space, also being more of a multifunctional space.
right.
Yeah.
For charity fundraisers, for trivia nights, for DJ residencies. On Thursday, we're doing this thing called Nerd
I was about to
Nite.
say, I saw that in your sign out
Yeah.
there, and I wanted to ask you about
Which
that.
is I'm super excited about. It's a guy who's actually one of our OG Mug Club members here. Had the idea to put it on. It's been successful in like other cities around the country. It's basically kind of like a very quick multi-presentation TED Talk type thing,
Oh, that's cool.
except about like nerdy topics.
Nerd stuff?
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's
man.
totally free,
man.
and it's just like one of them. Like the first speeches have been talking about the U of L like basketball scandal from like a nerd's perspective and like what accreditation means and like all that kind of crazy stuff, which I
Could
think
we
will be a
avoid
hot
that
topic.
issue?
Yeah.
My heart's bleeding still.
Yeah. But
When is that? Like, is
it's
that
Thursday
on
night.
Thursday
Yeah,
night.
Thursday night.
Is
Yep.
that every?
We're gonna do it
Thursday
once a
or-
month.
Okay.
Probably like I think we're gonna try to aim to do the last Thursday of every month. Now, unless we have a crazy show that pops off, we'll
Right.
move it around. But that's gonna be the rhythm we're gonna get into.
Cool.
But stuff like that, I think, is important not just for us, but for the community too, to kind of know that you're doing different stuff and we're not just a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Right.
I did spend quite a bit of money on the sound system and the acoustic treatment, so I'm not just gonna let that go to waste. But
Right.
we're gonna focus more on, I think, the quality versus the quantity kind of vibe. And we'll start, like, I have a DJ residency planned. They'll start up in the spring every Saturday from like 11 to 1. You can come here and
man.
dance if you want to and hang out.
It'll be hopping.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my goodness.
we'll get more.
I didn't even mean that. I mean,
We'll
No
get more
pun
consistent. I mean, we have a lot going on here, so I wanted to make sure that this was right first, which I had no doubt it would be because Corey's professional, but just to make sure our staff got dialed in. You know, everybody wanted to open with a show day one, but I mean, we just hired a brand new staff and just to dump 300 people in here, like for a show, 400, 500 people. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a recipe
yeah.
for a bad experience, and just like
Right.
Yeah, you don't want people to
Yeah.
leave saying,
Exactly,
"Oh
so-
man, I don't want to go back there again."
we're just building up slowly and carefully,
Right.
a little method to the madness, somewhat, or so I tell myself.
Now, is there anything in the summertime that you have an outside area too with
Mm-hmm.
some architectural work? It's kind of interesting out there. Can you just talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit?
Oh, no,
The caverns.
yeah, the caverns.
Yeah.
He covered
He talked
it.
about it a little bit in the beginning. Remember?
Yeah.
On the you did call it.
Yeah, well,
okay.
I don't really.
Anything
Sorry.
more about that?
sometimes you get lost.
I
and
think
it's
I
fun.
zoned out a little bit there.
But there is also above the caverns. There's a really cool skyline view
Yeah.
area, and I think it's unique because you don't really get that angle of Louisville skyline from really anywhere else. You can go to a bar downtown like 8 Up and like be in the skyline. You can go to Indiana and look at the skyline across the river. You can come like off 64 West, like coming back from St. Louis or somewhere, and see it coming this way, but you don't really get that kind of picturesque from behind it on the Kentucky side look. So I think it's a pretty cool vantage point. Apparently this hill used to be like way bigger back in the day, so it was really like the spot to kind of like look over downtown.
Yeah.
So it was nice to kind of go up there and mulch it out and get it a little more
Yeah.
situated.
Well, that's definitely. I'd assume. I mean, you guys, of course, doing music in here. You got your trivia night and your Nerd Nite. Is there any other kind of special nights that you guys have planned or in the works, or anything kind of cool coming up?
Well, we partnered with Mayan Street Food to do our food. They do
Nice,
all the
yeah.
tacos and stuff outside, and they're great. And they're going to start up a Burrito Monday thing where they're
Awesome.
going to do like custom burritos every Monday that'll be different each week. So that'll be, or maybe it's each month, I think. That's starting in top of February, which
Awesome.
coincides with trivia starting.
Yeah.
We have a huge projector screen that drops down in front of the stage too, so we show a ton of games, whether it's UK or U of L, Super Bowl, stuff like that. But no, nothing like too big planned in the works.
Okay.
A lot of people like to rent the space too, so that's
Yeah.
kind of been a unique beast to deal with recently. And people come in and they like the size, and it's spacious enough to where you can kind of get away from everybody if you want to. So we've been doing a lot of like private party stuff, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang. I mean,
Sounds good.
it's
Stuff
definitely-
like this.
Yeah.
We welcome all podcasting shows to come in.
Well, I'm
Remote
I'm
radio
telling you,
shows.
It's been it's this podcast definitely been kind of an adventure for us, and it kind of had some interesting twists and turns of like events that have happened for us, and how quickly it's kind of rolling, and we really wanted to get out there because I know when Jared first brought it up, it was a basically to shine light on you guys, the craft brewers and the people that are bringing decent beer out there to the people, because
Let people know there's more than just your domestic, and
and
it
there's
actually
more than just
tastes good.
nasty craft beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
There's a lot of that too. There's a lot of that.
because like I said, my experience with beer is when I was in Germany, it was fantastic. I came back and I was like, what's going on? Like I could never find something that I really, really enjoyed. So I mean, people like you, this is fantastic. To be able to have something like this, and someone who's actually putting a lot of love and time into their product to make sure that it's good and
Yeah.
not just hey, Spinelli's right up the road, and you guys are going to get the late night people who are all roasted coming in, just like they don't care what kind of pizza they get, just put some bread in front of them. They're
Exactly.
happy.
No.
So
we send those people there hopefully. So that's what we try to do. But no, I mean freshness is a huge crucial part of that. It's just like there's a symbiotic relationship between fresh beer and like live music.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bridge the gap of. I mean, we're not the first place to have live music in a brewery. Like that's been done. We're just trying to take it to like another level that's more than just doing the 16-ounce arm curl at a show, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Doing some artist-inspired brews and stuff we're gonna do where we actually brew with the musicians and like release a beer for them.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that stuff's gonna happen. And then like live music experiences, you can't replicate that. You can watch a live stream, you can listen to a bootleg, you can see it stream on some YouTube channel or whatever, but you're never gonna have the same like experiences when you're at a live show, no matter what. And having been in the industry for a while, it's like the one constant thing that's like not fluctuated with streaming and downloads and like everything else that happens to like kind of break the music industry.
Yeah.
Live shows are still that one. It's a revenue maker. It's like how bands make their money and they tour and they sell T-shirts and that's it. Like there's not a lot of record sale money out there for them to be made. But the experience on a consumer side is like is huge. And I similarly on fresh beer, that's something that Corey and I both, but especially him, really believe in from a product standpoint. Is that you as soon as you package your beer, whether it's in a can or a bottle, and it goes to a shelf somewhere, you've lost all control over how that product is going to be handled or like rotated or bought, if it's kept cold, if it's kept warm. You just kind of open the door to like, all right, it's like sending your kid to school. Like, I hope you do well and hope things are great, but I'm not going to be there. So we'll see what happens. So here, when we do it, have most of our beer on site, it's being served at like the height of its freshness, at how it's supposed to be consumed by the consumer. And that freshness is something you can taste. It's palpable. Like a beer here or at any brewery or it's serving it fresh tastes way different than opening a bottle and pouring it in a glass. So I always liken it to the experience of you wouldn't go to like 610 Magnolia or some fancy tasting menu place, order this food and have it come out and be like, yeah, can you just box that up? I'm going to go home and eat it. Like, no, you would eat it right there when the chef like made it hot and when it's coming out the way it's supposed to come out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a beer is very similar to that. And as soon as it leaves the place, I feel like it just kind of slowly
degrades down.
gets down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're all about here.
Yeah, this is definitely incredible. I'll be harassing you, I'm sure, about shows at some point in time if you're ever down for that. We do like dark wave, electronica, like weird jazz.
Cool.
But yeah, this is definitely. I'm really glad you sat down and actually opened the time in your schedule.
Yeah, we appreciate your
No,
time.
thanks for coming in. I
appreciate
appreciate it.
you
Yeah, it's
taking-
great.
doing
So
this
getting
for
down
us.
there.
Anytime.
So Gravely Brewing with Nathaniel Gravely. This has been an awesome experience. You got some awesome
has.
brews down here. You have awesome venue and some really big, cool community events that are kind of coming up. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll definitely be back here for sure.
Yeah, we'll be attenders here.
Just to experience
Just
it.
Awesome.
be that guy you drag out at one point in time. So
That's what it's all about.
You can't sleep here,
yeah,
sir.
just doing those,
One guy or girl at a time. That's what we
Yeah,
do.
I was about to say, get those deadlifts in. I'm
Yeah.
about, 250, so if you can get that, then we'll be good. No, this is definitely fantastic. We really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Great
Yeah.
experience.
Cheers. Yeah. Who wants? Do you guys want a beer?
Absolutely.
Always, yeah.
This is Nathaniel Gravely from Gravely Brewing Company, and you're listening to Laughs and Drafts.
All right, go ahead, Tim. Take us away to your next. What do you got over there?
Well, this is a nice story. It's entitled Now from the Annals of Totally Gross. A Chinese man spent 55 years with an opening to his rectum in the wrong place.
Oh man,
That's an unusually long time to live without a normal anus.
where? Okay, go ahead. Just continue. I need to know where it happened. Where is it actually
Okay,
exit
let
from?
me read on here. It says that talks about his birth, and at the time of his birth, he was one out of every 5,000 infants is born with a misplaced, blocked, or missing rectal opening.
I know. I've heard people being born out buttholes.
The problem occurs slightly more frequently in boys than girls. The cause is unknown. Anyway, through all his agony of this is where it gets weird. It says, so how did he move his bowels for more than a half a century? Because he's 55 years old.
Yeah.
We endured a 0.5 centimeter diameter surgical hole, or stoma, near his urethra for excrement, through which he
What?
could squeeze stools out of his own hands. According,
Whoa.
yeah,
Out with his hands.
it sounds gross, but
He
medically
assisting.
speaking, he had a
Oh my
colostomy.
gosh.
It's not colonoscopy. It's colostomy.
Colostomy?
Colostomy bag, yeah.
No, I just said he had a colostomy.
Is that what it says? I can't.
It doesn't say bag, it just says.
No.
Oh, just said he had a colostomy, so he had a hole
I'll
in the
bring my
center.
glasses next time. A procedure that created less than a quarter-inch wide surgical hole, which substituted as his anus. This opening was located closer to his scrotum in a more forward position on the body rather than rear.
Oh my gosh.
Colostomy
Yes.
is the first stage of a two-part operation needed to correct.
And perforated anus.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Looks like.
Still, it's awful messy and weird. Way to go to the bathroom.
Well, yeah. I mean,
So,
the part
You gotta get in with your hands
the
each
part
time.
that blows me away was like we put it back, like real close to his behind his scrotum. I was like, dude, like
Why?
2 more inches in the other direction is where it's supposed to be. You couldn't have just. And it's like, no, I have to have it some really weird place, so I have to lift up my balls and look underneath and I don't know.
What are those strange drill bits that have like the 3-inch diameter hole
Oh, like
that they
an
put
auger?
like 2x4s to run wires through?
Oh
You
yeah,
just one
the
of
hole
those.
in
and
the-
that's like a paddle bolt or paddle drill bit.
or are you talking
Just
about
do
the
one
one
of
that's
those.
like the big cup with the serrated edges?
yeah,
on
the
it?
big cup with the
Yeah.
serrated edge. Use
The
that.
whole. Yeah,
I get a job
I mean,
done.
yeah.
Just put him out.
Honestly, if you just get one of those like the things that bust the locks off doors, you know, the pneumatic,
gauge.
yeah, just get a 12 gauge, just put it back there, pull the trigger.
Universal key.
It's really that easy. When you go to the hospital, that's actually what they do. You just lay down, they pull out their surgical shotgun, and gently place it up against your taint and release a small amount of pressure. You're going to feel a small amount of pressure here, just so. That means buckle down.
Deep breaths.
It's gonna
Deep
hurt.
breaths, okay?
That's the scary
Stay with
thing.
me.
It's when they look at you and they go, "All right, I'm going to need you to take a deep breath," and you're like, "Oh God, oh man, I know that's doctor speak for this is going to be real bad."
That sounds like a drill behind me. Yes.
Yeah. I remember one time I had a catheter, and you know when they have to like remove it, they just basically like yank it, and this is exactly what they did. This kind of like everything was ready. It was awkward already. It's like, so here's my penis. As you can see, I've had something shoved inside of it. I know you're here to help me with that. And they look at you and they're just like, take a deep breath. And you're like, no, please. And so just rip it out. And the deep breath doesn't help.
No.
It doesn't
No,
help.
please
Surprisingly,
don't. Please don't
that
do
doesn't
this.
help. Yeah.
Isn't and don't they when they put it inside you and your urethra up there? Don't they inflate it?
That's how
Yes.
it keeps it from coming
That's
out.
how it keeps. No.
Did you have one too?
Oh, yeah. Like
Is it?
7
Oh
weeks
my
straight.
God.
Yeah,
It was
wow.
horrible, wasn't it, when they removed it?
It's
It was-
like mine, it had been there for 7 weeks, and so like you have fluids in your body that it would usually over time like they usually change them out,
yeah.
but what happens is those like fluids and things crystallize,
Yep.
and so when they pulled mine out, it was just there was no
Nothing but crystals and sandpaper riding on the inside of
sandpaper
that.
is literally the best description
Yeah.
I can have for
And
that.
then the first time you go to the bathroom, like the first 2 or 3 times after
It
that on your
stings.
own, it is
it stings.
unpleasant. Good times.
Can only
Tim.
imagine.
You always bring me my favorite stories.
I try.
Hidden mystery buttholes. You know, the great thing is like if you're at like he had that for 55 years. Okay. So that means when he was at a school dance and a girl put his hands on his waist, he's like, "You're fondling my butthole." And she didn't even know. That's the best part
Well,
about
there
it.
is a happy ending to this.
Is there? Go ahead.
Yeah, he saved up enough money he could get the proper surgery, and one he waited for a lifetime.
Now I can poop like a real boy.
And now he's got rectum cancer.
Oh.
Psych. No, I'm just kidding.
Dang.
Yeah.
So he didn't have it done. Where'd he go for the other one? Or was that just provided?
It
Was it
doesn't
an old trailer out behind a McDonald's?
I mean, that's
Probably
what it
so.
sounds like.
behind a dumpster.
Behind that guy remember that story we did about the dude that was like, I want to have a sex change, and the guy online was the airline mechanic and was like, I think I can help you out with that.
Yeah, I think I can do this. Oh my
It's the same
gosh.
guy. He's got a really great practice going on down there.
He's like, I'm done with testicles.
Now you won't
on to
be able to
buttholes.
poop normal. What you're gonna have to do is gonna have to massage it out of your own body, or wait until pressure's just built up enough that it just bursts out on its own.
with your own DNA
Yeah,
in
with
your
your own
hands.
dino DNA. That movie keeps coming back. Fo, did you know I saw a thing? Jeff Goldblum's supposed to be in the next one.
Yes, he is.
And
It's worth it just to go see
I'll
him.
watch it just to hopefully hear the.
Have you heard the dance mix
Yeah.
they made? Oh my gosh.
Okay. Anyways, Ethan, take us away to your next story before I keep talking about Jeff Goldblum.
This one was sent to me by a fan of ours who watches the show, a good friend of ours, and I feel weird saying fan. She's a person who listens to the podcast.
Well, thank you
That
for
works.
listening to the podcast.
Yay.
My love for you transcends beyond normal bounds. I appreciate your support and your love, even
But
though
it's,
you're friends with Ethan, and that does kind of tick some points off of your card there.
Yeah, okay.
Hello.
Sweating blood is a thing, and it baffles Italian doctors.
Who touched I used the correct.
Oh, man. Sweating blood isn't just another way of saying someone's made an extraordinary effort. It's a real medical condition.
Doing Raining Blood by Slayer there, sorry.
A team of Italian doctors.
Can you shut up?
I was waiting for it. I was like, he's still going. He's still going.
All right.
Sweating blood isn't just another way of saying someone's made.
Now it's ruined.
Sweating blood isn't just another way of saying someone's made an extraordinary effort. It's a real medical condition. A team of Italian doctors treated a 21-year-old woman whose condition caused her to spontaneously sweat blood from her face and palms of her hand.
That's so brutal.
That's brutal.
That's so brutal.
The scary condition occurred without apparent cause over 3 years. The unidentified woman, who was treated for depression, had become socially isolated as a result of the condition. There was no obvious trigger for the bleeding, which could occur while she was asleep and during times of physical activity, researchers noted in the Canadian Medical Association Journal. That includes cuts or broken skin.
How awesome would that be, man? I'm already depressed and I deal with depression. So, man, give me some kind of sweet perk like I sweat blood out of my face. Give me that.
You would be amazing looking at the gym.
Oh.
Just turn around. Just,
Can you imagine me at shows? You guys have never seen me at like concerts. I'd be on stage just like looking like Andrew WK up there, man.
She stated that more intense bleeding occurred during times of perceived emotional stress.
Every time I watch The Notebook, just blood pours out of my face.
Episodes lasted from 1 to 5 minutes, investigators added. Doctors came to a rare diagnosis, hematohydrosis. It's a condition characterized by blood oozing from intact skin and, just as disturbing, the eyes. It is often associated with emotional stress and fear and not fully understood. Mystery and controversy surround the diagnosis, which recalls biblical observations of Jesus sweating blood. There is no single explanation of the source of bleeding in hematohydrosis, doctors noted. The patient's anxiety and depression was treated with, propanol. How do you say that, Jason? You're the medical dude.
Propanol? I can't see it. Propanol.
Propanol, LOL. A beta
I think
blocker.
they put an extra OL on there. I
They're
think they
just
went
like,
to
we don't get this either. LOL.
Propanol.
A beta blocker commonly used to regulate blood pressure and heart rate, but the bleeding continued. That led to a marked reduction, although not a complete remission of her bleeding. That's crazy.
Good times. I don't know why she had her eyes blacked out in the picture, man. Freaking own that stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty
oh,
it's pretty rough.
wow.
The one thing that would be scary is if you're, going at it with somebody and all of a sudden you just look up and it's like, what happened? I am strangely aroused.
I can never keep a boyfriend.
I'm just wondering how much quantity she would lose over time.
It's probably just that much.
Because your face, if you ever had a cut on your forehead or something,
yeah.
it bleeds like crazy.
Crazy vascular up there in your face area.
Could own
Dang.
nothing really white.
Huh?
You just ruin it instantly.
Oh, yeah.
You have all black clothing, red.
Man, I wear red. You can't see it when I sweat. Which is crazy because I always get a weird penis shape on my shirt when I sweat. So it would be like a red blood penis. Just sweet album name. I'm going to... Just want to throw that out there.
That's All right.
Pretty awesome.
Belongs on a t-shirt.
Yeah, coming,
Pretty awesome.
coming 2018.
Blood Penis.
Blood Penis.
Jason Thomas.
It's a great name for a band.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Laughs and Drafts. Thank you so much, Nathaniel, for having us out and chatting with us. It really was a blast. We had a great time coming out to Gravely Brewing. And like I said, if you guys are in Louisville and you get a chance, you got to see this place. It is... The atmosphere is beyond awesome. The beer is beyond awesome. And the staff themselves are just super friendly. And they have a taco truck out back, right, that does like all the food.
Mayan Cafe.
Mayan Cafe. And there's nothing better than freaking like food truck food. It literally is the best. So if you guys get a chance, get out there. They have some cool things going on. They have Nerd Nite, which is where they get up and kind of do a version of like TED Talks, where I think recently they covered the U of L scandal, where they were talking about all the prostitutes and all that good jazz, but they were talking it more of an intellectual, like nerdy standpoint, I think is how he described it to us, which was really cool. So they got a lot of really awesome things going on. Make sure you get out there and check them out. And as always, you can find us on iTunes. Please go there, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps. Every little bit, every rating definitely gets us a foot up on the thousands of other shows that are out there. So it helps us get to more ears. So please go on there, leave a comment, subscribe, and the first 100 people to leave a comment get a free sticker from us as a way of saying thank you. We've already got a few of those shout out to some fans, and it's been really cool to see you guys have them.
All right. Also, check us out on Facebook at Laughs and Drafts.
We are also on Twitter at Laughs Drafts. And if you enjoy listening to podcasts on YouTube, we are also on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can also find us on patreon.com/laughs and drafts, where if you would like to, you can feel free to donate. Again, anything that you do donate to the podcast just helps keep us going.
Yep, and there's some cool rewards on there. Anything from getting us a signed card from us all the way to being on air with us. Each month we'll go through, if we get a couple people that reach that tier in donation each month, we will do a raffle and pull out of that pool to have one of you all read live on air with us your favorite strange stories. So we can't thank you guys enough. Once again, I am your resident fancy boy, Jason Thomas.
I'm Jared, your learning man.
This is Tim, the old man.
And Ethan, the guy with the glasses.
You didn't even change it once, man. I'm so proud of you, my sweet, sweet, sweet baby boy.